and gentlemen, welcome to episode 100. That's right, I'm going to take a little bit of a whiskey hit right here as we start this episode, as everyone looks at the camera to the greatest football team ever, the Dallas Cowboys. There you go.
Yeah.
See,
how about them boys, huh?
Only Cowboys fans drink while they're working.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, and I am a drinker. Welcome to 100 episodes of the Think Different podcast. It has been 99 episodes ago. We started this revolution, sort of, and here we are, together again with a whole bunch of former Apple retail employees. My name is Will, and I want to thank you all for joining us on the ride, but today, we're going back to the beginning. Episode 1, you heard this man's voice. He has returned for the 100th episode. Ladies and gentlemen, 0 and 6 Texan man himself, it is Tim Vacation Santoro.
They're actually 1 and 5. We beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I apologize. I apologize.
Game losing streak.
Watch out, everybody. The Jaguars.
I've been celebrating all day, but Tim, it's good to see you back, and we know now that you personally go to a lot of weddings just to get your professional photos made, and I trust you look really handsome lately. But I gotta say, Tim, what is going on with you? How are things?
It's honestly too busy. We've had 2 weddings this month. My birthday was last week, so I've been doing that.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. My company's releasing a new product, so I've been kind of down. I was literally working up until this call. So as Chris was mentioning he hasn't been working, and I've been working like crazy.
No, I've been working efficiently.
So I've just been
working smarter, not harder.
That's exactly it.
Well,
and,
Tim,
my computer doesn't work, so...
Yeah, we found that out, ladies and gentlemen. He's on his iPad and can't figure out his Apple equipment, folks. But maybe if he went to the our YouTube page and watched some of our videos, he might be able to catch up on a lot of that Apple stuff. But Tim, it's good to see you. We look forward to seeing that XXX site that goes up live with your company. But moving on, we're going to talk to Mr. Chris Ville. As you know, he's been here a couple of times. We talked during the pandemic times. He grew out his hair to look more like a genius now. Chris Ville, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Now you have your baby is no longer a baby.
It's true.
Right?
She's a toddler. She's running around. She's smacking and biting and sometimes throwing temper tantrums, but still being adorable.
Well, we're so happy that you are here. And then, of course, we have the former. Wow, I just lost my spot. Along with me is the former Apple creative, retired book publisher, soccer mom recorder, Jurassic Park earner, juror number 12, retirement home president, the Keno Trout drummer himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Fuck is here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
And
the nice resume you got there.
Yeah, well, we keep growing the resume every single week. I was about to put convicted murderer, but I found out he wasn't.
No,
move forward.
Let's definitely not do that. He does murder T-Rexes, though.
Yeah, yes, he does. Absolutely, that's right. In fact, he cannot wait for you all to come to his next park. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Hey, no, I got a question for everybody. You're talking about what has anybody been watching Foundation?
Oh, I sure have.
No, what is that?
Oh, Foundation.
Of course, Tim has not watched. He doesn't watch any Apple products.
Based off of Isaac Asimov's book. It's same guy who did iRobot. Who wrote iRobot. But the thing is, like these books came out 70 years ago now.
Well, he's considered the father of science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the Foundation, the series, is what Star Wars and Star Trek are really based off of. And the series on Apple TV, it's the photography is exceptional.
It's so good. The set pieces are amazing.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
The storyline is a little slow, but there's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
But that's really, really good.
All right, so you're throwing your recommendation out for Foundations. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question. So I'm assuming, Tim, you are not subscribing to Apple TV Plus, I'm assuming.
So funny enough, my girlfriend, we bought an iPad last year, so we have the 1 year free. It ends the end of this month.
Get binging.
So yeah, I got to binge. Apparently, I got to binge Ted Lasso. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm I don't watch TV anymore. The only thing I watch is either sports or Seinfeld, and there's kind of no in between right now.
So you watch current sports or 20-year-old show?
Yeah.
Only
right.
one, by the way, not
All right,
multiple,
just
just one.
No other ones.
Just one.
No other ones.
Yeah,
Still
but
like
I mean, it's a classic. Come on,
It is,
Who
it
doesn't
is.
like Seinfeld?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it is.
Every day I have a Seinfeld moment.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's so relatable.
Yeah, my wife every day just wants to watch some Seinfeld, man. She just loves it. Especially when we went to Orlando one time and we had exactly the car rental problem that they went through. Like they don't have any cars.
That's the point of a reservation.
I started
the car.
I was so close to like, but why do you have a reservation? Like I started doing the bit, it was like, it's so funny. So, but also something very special happened this week back in 2001. Can anyone guess what that is?
Ooh.
Anybody?
This
2001. What's that?
I don't remember.
This week in history, the original iPod was debuted by Steve Jobs in that small little studio with 1,000 songs in your pocket. So I thought,
Did any of you guys get to go to the Steve Jobs theater as well? Will, were you able to go?
no, unfortunately, it was not ill at the time, so I did miss out on it. I saw the big plot of land.
Yeah.
And a couple, but yeah, I was not available at that time. By the time that honestly it was built, we stopped going to campus anyway, so it wasn't even going to be.
Sorry, not the Steve
available.
Jobs theater. The that theater that they announced the iPod in, they still use on the sub campus.
Yeah, no, I never got to go in that theater.
Yeah, those chairs are tiny.
Wow.
That's my complete.
Okay. Well, who would have thought where that would grow to in the Apple world? I mean, I didn't personally have an iPod till the third generation. I don't know about you guys, but
Were you a Zoom guy?
I definitely was not a Zoom guy. That is damn sure. But I think Frank, you had a second gen, right? You had a
yes, I did. I had it all, man. In fact,
you sucked the Kool-Aid before it was cool.
man, I'm telling you, I was an apostle early on, man.
Well, this, we're tying into this week here. We are about 20 years later, and the next revolution of Apple products has happened on the 100th episode. Now, of course, Zevia, our non-sponsor here today. I'm going to take a drink before we get going.
Is that what you're having? The flask, Zevia?
Zevia and a flask. No, actually, it is Jack and honey. So I'm going to take another sip for them Cowboys at them 5-1 right now.
That's not keto, man.
Oh yes, it is.
Not Jack.
So whiskey is keto. Shut up. So we're talking about the Apple event that just happened this past Monday. We have brand new colors in the HomePod Mini.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I was waiting 6 years for them to release more colors of the HomePod.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important that those colors match your home so that people can give you compliments. That's very important. And of course, we have the AirPods that came out, which is fine. And then the old ones are discounted now to $129. And then finally, of course, the big story is the M1 Pro and the M1 Max came out. These chips look phenomenal. And then on top of it, the new MacBook Pro came out. So this is kind of an open forum. I have been begging for this for a year for something like this to happen. Apple is starting to finally, I think, listen to everybody. Or it's either, would you say it's listen, or they're finally going back to what people liked. It's one of the two.
So, and 16-inch MacBook Pro was a start of this too, right? Butterfly keyboard dies.
Yeah.
Right? Butterfly keyboard dies, and then they're like, you know what? They really liked that bringing back things that they asked for thing.
Yeah. It's a crazy concept, isn't it? Yeah. But let's talk about the power in these. I mean, the M1 Pro has 32 gigabytes of unified memory, 10 cores, 16 core graphics, and for me as a video editor, they're putting a ProRes media engine. And for those who don't understand what that is, if you're a video editor and you want to have the smoothest and best playback you can possibly have, ProRes is the way to go. In fact, in the Mac Pro, you have to buy the Afterburner, which is like a $800 or $1,000 piece of hardware to be put in there for it to do exactly what this does. and that is truly amazing. And then they surprised us with an even better car, because everyone was saying there was going to be an M1 Max. That was the rumor going around, and they came out with, I think, an even better name than that. So the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Chris, you're a big tech guy. This has got to be something that you're pretty excited about.
It's pretty fantastic, right? Because the market has been filled with Intel and AMD, right? And for years, right? And Intel has slowed down. Their nanometers isn't as big as small and as efficient as it should be. And meanwhile, Apple just shows up and it's like, the M1 was already a breakthrough as it was when it comes to efficiency and power and what it can do. Like, to me, I don't think anybody needs anything more than the M1 for like 99% of people, right? Because it's just that good, right? So then they come out with the M1 Pro and the M1 Max, and for editors, this is actually a fantastic way for them to not have to lug around a Mac Pro with an afterburner card to go ahead and help with their HVEC editing and all that. It's fantastic. And that technology is fantastic. And then, we can get to the ports and stuff after if you want, but that's my thought on that.
I have a question for you. Is the power consumption a big deal as they talked about? I mean, they seem to emphasize that the fact that, you have all this power and you're using, what did they say, 3 times less power?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the point is that you would have to lug this desktop around for the consumption of that power, and your battery would never last. That's the point of what the M1, that it's optimized to the hardware, because Apple's, building it basically, that it's able to, withstand, and you're talking like with other things that are added. You're talking about like a refresh rate that's been upgraded, a brand new display, all this on top of that. And they're still killing what the comparisons were.
So the comparisons, right? The comparisons would be its own dedicated graphics card, which I think the equivalent. We have to see the benchmarks, obviously, but the equivalent sounds like a 3080 mobile graphics card, right? And the problem with those right now is if you're editing with those, you need to be plugged into power, because your battery is probably going to last 2 hours editing. With the 3080 graphics cards, the RTX series, they're huge power consumptions, right? But for the M1 Max, for people that go out actually on the go and edit, if you're in the waterfalls of Sri Lanka for working for Net Geo, right, and you need to take a picture and edit it, you don't want to have to be like, oh well, let me go ahead and find a source of power right now so I can just, you want to have some type of battery life while you're editing, right? And this actually provides that, which is it's fantastic.
Tim, what at your job, do you guys use Macs or PCs?
No, we use all PCs.
Ah, what a terrible company. No, joking.
Why'd they go back to MagSafe though?
Well, that's the fast charging was probably one of the bigger reasons. Not to mention that when they introduced MagSafe again in the iPhone 12, they brought the name back up, just the name itself. And honestly, MagSafe is one of the best charging ever built. Like, the idea of you don't have to worry about your computer hitting the floor if you trip on your wire. USB-C does not have that capability at all.
USB, you will sure damage your ports.
Yes.
And
right.
That I've always used that as a big selling point if you travel with your machine. I mean,
absolutely,
airports or wherever. You know.
I mean, honestly, I think they also fray less. I don't know. What's good now is that it's a detachable cable, where before that wasn't. That's a nice thing too, because now if your cable frays up, you only have to replace the cable and not the whole
not
brick.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Right.
What's
it's USB-C to MagSafe, which is that's a cool invention alone.
What's interesting about that cable too, it's 140 watts, and USB-C can actually only technically hold up to 100 watts. So that conversion that happens to the MagSafe allows it up to 140.
Okay.
So I guess they were able to develop. I guess they couldn't. Maybe they were limited on the technology of what the USB-C could do, and they just developed their own. And they made a fast charging magnetic port, which is incredible. But MagSafe, no one hated MagSafe. Maybe they didn't like the cable because it frayed a lot, but beyond that,
what cables
really
don't fray
hated
from
the
Apple?
cable. Yeah. I mean, but even this one, I think it's like a different kind of like a nylon. It looks
It's like a braided, isn't it?
It
Yes,
looks like it looks like a braided mesh.
Yeah.
But
So
how long was the MagSafe out of commission from the MacBooks?
6 years.
Until it's brought out.
that's 2016 when they upgraded the newer USB-C models with the touch bar. So it's been that long, 5 years.
I think that was one of the biggest things that people disliked.
There was a lot of things they disliked. I'm using one right now. Like I went from the biggest thing was the power that they were going to provide in this machine, which is why I got it. I didn't buy it for the touch bar, I can tell you that, and I definitely didn't buy it for the 4 USB ports, which required me to buy tons of adapters. I can tell you that. So that's why I bought it.
Do you want to move our way across the ports?
Yeah, absolutely. So. First off, USB-C is still great. There is no doubt that I think USB-C is worth having on a computer now. In fact, it's more. Now you're seeing more things that you buy that charge via USB now.
Yeah, it seems standard now. Yeah,
it is. It's becoming very standard now. But port-wise, let's talk about the one side that everybody wants to talk about. The HDMI is back, and the SD card slot is back. Thank God.
No more adapters. No more dongles.
Does anybody else find it weird that like if we look at Apple computers in a museum, right, there's going to be 6 dark years of like no HDMI, no SD card.
That's what's so crazy about it.
Yeah, and no MagSafe. And I'm like, what happened between these 6 years? I'm like, oh, we don't talk about those years.
Yeah, but the Mac Mini has it. The Mac Mini had a freaking HDMI. Yeah. Like it was ridiculous why Apple took them away. And now people are a little iffy on the fact that they're using an HDMI that's only 60 hertz compatible. Mm-hmm. So if there's anything higher, you have to get an adapter using USB-C. But that's, to me, that is like so below a big deal. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, the SD card slot. And people can say, well, the higher end SD cards, they're not real SD cards anymore. But I was like, again. The majority of people that use cameras have SD cards. It's a technology that still isn't gone, but it is slowly starting to, go away. But the camera I use is SD cards. Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But we have to, and then the USB-C, is it just me or does it feel like they're a little spaced more out than normal? I can't say that without seeing it.
Yeah. I think we definitely, we have to see it.
There's 3, right?
There's 3.
2 and 1,
2 on one side, 1 on the other,
And both for the 14 and 16 inch, by the way. They didn't cheap out. They gave everybody the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, the 14, you can get the same as a fully loaded 16, basically, right?
Same thing, yeah. And it's $200 difference.
The charging brick is in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God they gave us the charging brick.
Great. Brazil won't need to sue them now. That's fantastic.
Yeah. There's definitely one... You go ahead. Go.
I was gonna say maybe the campaign slogan is gonna be "They're back."
Yeah.
It should be. Honestly.
You got your F keys, right? You got the HDMI port. You got
you're the one
touch bar.
You're the one that you're the one that bought the iPhone 12 with no power brick. You spent like what $50 on power bricks. Hey. So that was you.
Somehow.
Yeah,
listen, I got to try to pump up the stock, man. Come on.
Thank you, Frank Funk. Yeah, but the one thing that went away that thank God we did not want was that touch bar. This was a failure. I don't care. Now there's one time I use the touch bar, and that's when I'm doing a trim edit on my Final Cut Pro. But beyond that, never used it except for volume when I had to or display when I had to.
I have hit this Siri button accidentally on that touch bar.
God.
So freaking much.
And the escape key, because I have one with an escape. Remember, I had the one without the escape key was eventually brought back, but I hit that escape key all the time on the touch bar.
I hate that thing. And so for a repair standpoint, for people that don't know too, the touch bar has its own separate OS. So if you did an update for a firmware update and that went bad, it was unrecoverable, and you actually had to go ahead and send an out to depot repair to get that fixed. Having 2 OSs on a computer and that's inaccessible from recovery was a horrible repair idea.
Not to mention the repair strategy. Remember how much it was very sensitive to repair them. Chris knows because repairing them was tough.
That thing just sucked.
Well, it is no more. So there
Yeah,
you
they
go.
got like
Dark
I would have been
years.
fine. I would have even been fine if Apple even provided it as an option to add it on, which I don't. But I don't think anybody would have done it, or it would
Exactly.
have been
And it would have killed
small
itself faster
amount.
then. It would have been great.
Yep.
Well, they should have done the reverse. They should have said, "Oh, you want the F keys? It's available for another $200."
These are special F keys.
I will say that's the one thing. I feel like this computer is priced fairly,
Mm-hmm.
and especially if you compare it to like an Intel one,
Yeah.
it's really kind of comparable on there.
It's $2,000, right?
Well, that's starting price for the 14.
Sorry, yeah.
Yep,
for the
starting
14.
price, and then $24.99 for the 16-inch. Does anyone want to guess the highest price 16-inch model?
No.
Highest, the 8 terabyte, right? 6,500.
A little too high, $6,099.
99. That was it. I know it was
So
6,000.
that is for the highest amount of memory, the highest processor, everything. Does anyone want to guess how much Apple Care costs on the 16-inch?
4.
Yep, you got it, $400.
Yep, I
400.
definitely did not have to do any of this pricing for any type of work or
Yeah.
anything.
And the 14-inch actually is cheaper. The 14-inch is $279.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the display is also really great. They actually put a ProMotion display in there, 120 hertz, mini LED, and again, just like they have the refresh rate on the iPhone of the new 13, they have this inside of the display. I was a little surprised that was actually something they were adding on.
Yeah, I'm curious. So with the M1 Max Pro, I'm curious to see how it's going to stack up against like an NVIDIA RTX laptop that has a Quadro card in it, right? Because a Quadro card laptop, just for those who don't know, that's like a $10,000 laptop,
Oh, geez.
right?
God.
So, and that's with I'm looking at it right now. That's with a terabyte SSD too. That's not even 4 terabytes,
Whoa.
right? So, I'm very curious and to see what these benchmarks are going to be.
You know, it's amazing too that even apps that are not optimized to work for it, they've already proven that the M1 can handle them just as well, even if they're not optimized for the chip yet, which is truly amazing. Now, this is the one thing that's kind of hurting people a little bit. People don't like to go to Notch City.
I was going to bring it up.
So
It had to
Tim,
match-
talk about Notch City.
Come on. Get over
It's-
it.
It had to match its little brothers in the iPhones.
That's
you know.
right.
Now, is
the
this
little haircut?
now?
But
There's
it's
no
nice.
Face ID in this. There's no Face ID in
Right,
this.
Yet.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah.
Now
yeah.
I'm looking at my current Mac, which I have this black bar at the top, right? So they're knocking more space back to put the menu bar up there to give me more real estate for that. So I look at that as, fine.
Yeah.
You know, if a notch is going to stop you from buying this computer, like, you are ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the truth to me.
Or you simply have too many launch items in your computer. Because the only way that bar is ever going to matter is if you had 15 launch items.
Like right now, the bigger story I was seeing about the notch is how the mouse works with the notch. I'm like, why is this a story?
Why?
Like, who cares? Like, it'll either go around it or underneath it, one or the other. It's like, who cares?
It is kind of funny, though.
Right.
It is.
That's the biggest story that you have a problem.
People lost their shit when they saw that notch. Like,
There's always something that they
Yeah.
have to pick on. It's like,
Yeah.
when you're at the top of the hill, it's like, they got to find something
Yeah.
to knock you.
but is this becoming the Apple look, you think?
The notch?
Like, is this the look? Yeah.
For now, sure.
well, no, the
Or notch really, you mean, right?
the next phone is supposed to have just like the Samsung, right?
Yep.
Just the dot.
Yep.
So
Not anymore. Now they're trying to keep everything uniformed.
So
Like,
the
I would.
13 Pros, that shrunk by 25%, right? So I think logically there's going to be a phone at some point that just has that dot, like Frank said.
Yeah.
You know, that just makes sense.
Let's see what happens when the new Air comes out, and let's see what happens.
Let's see
I
what
mean, they're
happens.
definitely. I mean, they're upgrading the camera. Thank God for that. They have the new speaker array. They have, the low noise recording. I want to record one day using the microphone from this. Does anyone even have an M1?
I do. I have an M1
Oh,
Air.
Have you ever tried recording from
I
it?
have not.
Okay,
have
well, you
not.
got to do that. It's your homework.
Yeah, okay.
So, is there anything else about the MacBook Pro that like stood out, or anything that you feel like, that we didn't cover?
Well, didn't they talked about how the operating systems are getting closer and closer, that the phone apps, the apps themselves, what they call them, the apps, can run on the Mac. So, I kind of talked about years ago that at some point these operating systems were going to converge, and you were just going to have one operating system, or at least one set of apps that would run anywhere. And they kind of just brushed over that, but I picked up on it, and I'm like, well, we're not too far from whatever you buy in the App Store on your phone. You can also run that on your Mac.
Yeah, I'll say we're probably 2 OSs away from that.
Yeah,
if that. All right, Monterey, we know that's not right. We have the stuff about Monterey, but for 13 or 14, I could 100% see that. Yeah. From a architecture standpoint, managing standpoint, and all that, I'm sure you dealt with this too, Will. Like Big Sur, if you're running certain types of apps and they're running kernel extensions, right? Those all went away. So you can go to system extensions now for Big Sur. And then for Monterey, there's even more restrictive content coming to it, and it's just it's becoming more and more closed, which is great for consumers. It's terrible for enterprises.
For developers.
Yeah.
I can tell. Honestly, we do a pretty good job from Jamf side. We do pretty good at I thought Big Sur has been running pretty well from where I come from. The only thing I've been running into is when people come back to their machine, it actually doesn't let them log in. Like, it's almost like the server connection's not there for some reason, and you have to force it off. And then when you turn it back on, you log back in, it works. It's like
Active Directory too on Big Sur. It's like they just don't want it to be there too. There's some bugginess happening there, especially if you're running File Vault. File Vault and
yeah, we're not. I can tell you that.
Yeah, File Vault is not where it needs to be for enterprise, but that's a discussion for another time, because I can go into for hours.
Honestly, I don't think I see anybody in enterprise use File Vault.
We do, and it throws some wrenches in, especially if you're trying to remote into a computer, because it can't if it's on the File Vault screen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see what happens. I think they'll add some features soon to make that better.
Well, I have a good idea. I have a good present for Vacation Tim. I think the perfect present for his non-working camera display is a $19 polishing cloth. Because Apple released a polishing cloth.
Wait, did they really?
Yes, they did. Look it up right now. Did. So Tim, why don't you go online? Yeah, so go on their website and look up polishing cloth.
$19.
Because for $19, you can buy your very own polishing cloth.
Does it have the Apple logo on it?
Of course it has the Apple logo on it. Are you like, people saw that and be like, really? Like, Apple created a special cloth.
It looks like a mouse pad.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. It does. But yeah,
ships in 2 to 3 months. What the heck?
Yeah, people bought that.
That's because they're coming from Italy. They're making out of the cloth that used to be on the kids' chairs.
100%.
You know what's fun? So this is funny. I went on this website to look at it, and someone says Apple innovators do it again with a $19 polishing cloth. Slow clap, and then they wrote Apple never ceases to wow, and then it says, I mean, look at the thing, incredible.
Hey, you can clean your $500 Mac Pro wheels with it. It's great.
Yeah. That's ridiculous that they still give those wheels.
It's compatible with the iPhone SE and up. Why they list that? Why they list that?
Thanks.
That's very important. Now, if you have the iPhone 5, you are in trouble.
You can't use it.
Can't use that. You void the warranty.
That's bad news.
It has every other device, like iPad, the first generation, but not the iPhone.
I just couldn't. The funny part, it was like the funny part to me is the fact that it's sold out, or it's like taking a while to get here. Now, by the way, Apple is selling the USB-C to MagSafe braided cable for $49, and then $99 for the power adapter. So now it's definitely used to be $79 back in the day. Now it's just like it's really up there.
Fun tip too: if you're buying the 14-inch, In there you actually have a choice for your charger. For $20 more, you can get the 90 watt, which is fast charging.
I thought it was 97 watt.
97, thank you.
Very specific.
Yes, the 7.
I was just looking at it. That's why.
Yeah, but $20 fast charging. Why not? Just get, and then they put it in the box for you too, right? Which,
yes,
if you want
absolutely.
the whole, experience.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just browsing on the site. Am I late to the game on this MagSafe battery pack?
Yes, you are late. A little bit late on it. Yes.
Yeah. Year. Maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's all right.
It's not really
that's not-
a year.
it's not a year.
It came
It's
out.
a few months.
It came out. Yeah, it's a few
Okay.
months.
Yeah.
That it's great if you're like in a theme park. I would probably use it,
yeah.
but I would never use it any other time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, also in a theme park, I usually put my phone on like Wi-Fi only mode.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. I don't need those things. Basically, I don't need the battery packs.
I'll just put my phone away for a little bit,
Right.
But although I have to figure out the next time I can get on Rise of the Resistance, which is very important.
That's the most important thing. You got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for that.
I did for my for the I was there the second or third day it was out because it just happened to fall on my wedding anniversary. I didn't go there for that reason. But it just happened to. But yeah, I was there at 5:30 in the morning to get on that ride.
We went there
That's
February.
crazy.
Totally worth it, by the way.
Oh, it's the best ride, and it's the best
They
ride
let you in the park to line up?
outside the park.
Outside the park,
Yeah.
and then you had to get in this virtual queue.
Yep.
But think about it. I got in the virtual queue. My time was at 12:30, and I got there at 5:30. Could you imagine if you got there like at 9? You probably didn't even get in.
We went there in February.
December of 19.
Yeah, we went February of 20, and we got in on the ride by like 9:30, which was unheard of typically.
That's quick.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
take my
not
wife.
me. I mean, of course, I went at the worst possible time. When it's just opened up.
Yeah.
And by the way, did anybody look at the Pixel event that happened with the new Pixel?
What's a pixel?
Okay, so
Pixel?
and by the way, they're doing their own package. By the way, the Pixel Pass. You didn't see that? 45. They're doing exactly what Apple One does, where it combines all the services into one. Yeah, $45 or $55, depending if you want and you have to buy the Pixels, I think, to get it. Like, I don't think that's like available for everybody. So, okay.
Yeah.
Way to limit your customers.
Yeah.
But here we are at 100 episodes, guys. We survived 100 amazing episodes. But I got to ask, we're all here together. If anyone's got any cool Apple Store memories, I would love to share them.
Cool.
Frank Funk, you've been here I was, of course, the longest one out of this group. Frank, you were the second.
Yeah.
You have any amazing memories or...
Amazing. Well... I have some tribulations, but
go with tribulations are memories. By the way,
I mean, there were a couple episodes with your favorite man, Dan Z.
These two guys don't know who that is.
Oh,
so
Dan Zadak was a manager at Freehold, and this was in the days when we had to stay in the store until the manager got done. And actually, we cleaned up. We used to do dusting and all that shit. We had to repurpose the machines every night. But anyway, with Dan Zadak, he would come out and he'd start bullshitting with you. And then you wouldn't leave the store until like 2 o'clock.
Oh, man.
I mean, oh, my God. It was horrible. And I live in Hamilton, so I was about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour away from. So I was like, Dan, come on, man. And
he took his sweet time. He took his sweet time.
Yeah.
I mean, you got overtime. You were a part-timer.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean,
I want to be home.
I also had to work at 8 o'clock at my full-time job the next morning. So.
By the way, that guy also had a lot of accusations on flirting with a woman that worked at the Genius Bar, who was, I believe, he was married.
Oh, I heard. I know about him now. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
Genius Room gossip?
Hashtag canceled.
Yeah. So let's just say that guy didn't work. He ended up working at the Microsoft store, and
Yes,
look what happened to that.
Yeah.
And look what happened to them.
Selling Zunes.
Yeah.
Slinging out them Zunes.
Yeah. Zoom. They really had a thing called Zoom parties. Like, who went to a Zoom party on college campuses? That was a real thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Oh,
I know.
I thought you were joking.
I want to go. I want to go to iPod parties. Yeah. Tim, you have any memories or anything you want to share? You can, even funny stories if you have one. Even if you share on the podcast.
Yeah, I can't think of stories right now, but I think one of the coolest like feelings that you could have, like being a part of a team, was really being part of the Genius team, and just being in that back Genius room. You know, it's like you don't want to create like cliques ever in a company and stuff like that, but
It was a family of getting shit on. Yes.
Yeah. And it was just there's a mutual understanding that, you know, we were always going to have the employees back first and the customers backs.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that you go through, what the customers say, the customers do. It was just a huge like bonding experience every day that there was never a dull day when I was in the Genius room.
That's true.
Especially being from the admin side, you know, I would have to deal with the interaction either on the front end or the back end. And then hopefully repair the relationship with the customer somehow. And it was just awesome being able to collaborate with so many different people on a daily basis. You don't really see that a lot especially in a retail environment, obviously. But even when you're in a corporation, stuff like that, you don't collaborate with that many people on the same day, and have your hands on something so important to a customer facing product, but then also important for the company as well. You know, being able to create that rapport and being able to create, like, Quaker Bridge was a cool store for people to visit, for customers like to come visit Quaker Bridge, where they may have not said that about other Apple stores, because of the people that we had. So that's the biggest thing I miss still to this day, is just being in that room and kind of doing every day with the guys and girls that are in there.
Well, the Quaker Bridge had a big Genius room compared to
nice
Freehold and even Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill was small.
Well, they got a new store now. I bet you that room's a lot bigger now.
It's fantastic now.
Cherry Hill got a new store?
Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
They're outside the mall now. Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, still the people from Quaker Bridge are there now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I walked into the Quaker Bridge store the other day and I knew no one.
Really?
It was
I mean,
wild.
there's still a lot of people there.
Go
Still
Cherry
good
Hill.
amount.
There was Joe Goldstein, if I'm allowed to drop his name. But that was
who cares?
that was the only person that I knew. Because a lot of people that I affiliate with have recently left. The last one that I affiliated with was Meg, and she left.
Yep.
Earlier this summer.
Kurt just left too. He said his goodbye.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah. So he moved on too. It's slowly. You're starting to see those. That's what happens over time. You know, a lot of people just move on.
Well, especially
Apple's very rarely, I think, a career job for a lot of people. It's very small amount that really stay the whole time. I think if you're a manager, you're kind of set. You know, like really, where else are you going to work as a retail manager that would be better? You know, that's kind of hard.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that all those people are gone. I was there last week, and pretty much the creative team when I was there is still there.
Yeah. Well, there's no other roles for them to do anything. So what else are they going to do?
That's true. And except for
Doug, that's not their fault.
Yeah.
I'm pointing that out.
Doug's working in Florida.
Doug's in Florida. Yeah. But Bree is there. Bree was telling me they have them on the floor, different spots now.
Yeah, because they have nothing for them to do. The pandemic was like the worst possible thing that could happen to a creative, and they're already dealing with, you know, like the work, like the creative role is just a role that needs to go away. It really does.
It needs to evolve. I wouldn't say it needs to go away.
It needs to evolve. It should just go back to what it was doing. You know, 1-to-1 was a terrific program. I don't care if it costs money or not. What are you looking at, Chris?
It was a fantastic program for the customer. For an Apple sense, it made no sense.
Right.
you know, the problem with one-to-one was that you had that group of people that used it and milked it like a freaking cow.
Yes, yes.
And then you had people that bought it and had no idea what it was and never used it.
You
They
had
wanted it for the data migration.
if this is 1-to-1, you had all the people that bought it, and then you had almost there. These are the people that actually needed it. Right.
Yeah.
But you know the weird thing though, isn't that what they want? Don't you want people that just pay for something? Like a lot of like gyms make more money when people don't show up.
Of course.
Yeah. But does Apple care about money like that?
I think
that's a protection plan. It's a different story.
The creative thing should be tiered. You should have beginning sessions that you constantly run, introductory pieces. And then once somebody gets so far, and let's say Jane's been going to beginning sessions for, I don't know,
3
I'll just
years.
pick it. Yeah. You say, okay, you have to move on because there's nothing else that we can do for you in this core.
It's almost like we graduate them to another level.
Yes, yes. And then that way, the creatives, you can have creatives like I love doing the basic stuff, okay, and introductory stuff. Get people started, you know, because the problem I used to have was you would have those people at a session, and then you'd have 1 or 2 people that were beyond that, and they would always give you a bad rating.
Yeah.
Oh, this wasn't, this is not what I signed up for, blah, blah. Well, that's why you need more specific definitions of those sessions. Yeah. That's what I think they should do.
But honestly, what they've done hasn't made it better. They made it worse.
Yeah. Well, we're also going through, you have to remember, we're going through a transition period again, right?
Yeah.
We've been through a transition period since they stopped the 1-to-1 in 2011. And
no. I mean heads of retail. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there even one now?
Yeah. There's it's a previous head of HR. Right.
Okay.
So
they need to bring back the guy that went, Ron Johnson.
Well, he kind of almost destroyed JC
Penney.
Oh yeah, I know, because he was trying to apply what he did at Apple to JC Penney, and it just wasn't the thing for it.
No.
Let's get rid of coupons. Let's no coupons, just low prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work. And they tried to design like JC Penney's like Apple stores.
My favorite.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say my favorite memory was playing bagpipes on the HomePods. And then the one time I accidentally played fart noises throughout the entire story.
Fart noises, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, top two.
My favorite memory was when the one that never sticks out to me during Christmas season. Someone left their bag at the store. I was in a trading session. I grabbed the bag, brought it to the back, held it with the manager. This guy starts yelling and screaming inside the Apple store, like, "Where's my effing bag? Where's my bag?" The guy walks up to a 3rd generation iPod, takes it and this is a mini, rips it in half. The alarm goes off. That's when the alarms were on the back at the time, going nuts. And I'm in the middle of a training session while this is happening, and I'm hearing the noise that's going on. It's like, this guy's looking for his bags. So I went in the back. I left my session. I had to apologize, go to my session, grab the bags, give it to him, and he just cursed me off like I was trying to steal his bags.
Really, you were doing the right thing.
I did. I totally did the right thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he destroyed an iPod, no one, and by the way, didn't get arrested for it. They let him go. But and this is during a holiday season, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? This is one good thing I will say that what's going on with when it comes to Apple stores is where we work now. I don't think we have that same, connection with our own.
No,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, Frank doesn't have any connection because he stays home now. So, but. So I think it's cool that we could still get together and do things like, especially even like this. Like we picked up right where we left off. Everyone's still, friendly. Everyone loves each other. Some people like me, not all. But it's really cool that you guys. First off, I want to thank Tim Chris, for coming on this podcast, being with us again. Me and Tim started this thing, and here we are 100 episodes later. You know, we got the Jurassic Park owner and the real genius of this team, Mr. Chris Villandale. So, guys, I want to thank you very much for coming on and joining us, as always.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm happy to come. Yeah.
And we thank you guys for listening to this wonderful episode of the Think Different podcast. Make sure you buy your Zevia, and make sure that you go to tldwrestling.com.
So, did you put your order in?